All right, semifinal time in Monte Carlo. We've got a couple great semifinal matchups after some great quarterfinal matchups. Lorenzo Musetti versus Alex de Minaur and Carlos Alcaraz versus Alejandro Davidovich Fokina. Who's not there? Tsitsipas, Djokovic. We're going to talk about what happened to those guys, how these quarterfinals went down. Double bagel alert for Dimitrov, the first time in his career. Crazy match there. We're going to break it all down here on the slice because that's what we do. So thanks for being here. Let's get into the show presented by Betway. Okay, so lots going on in Monte Carlo. We're basking in the sunshine on the cliffs outside the Mediterranean Sea. And it's a 7-day tournament like we've all been talking about. So I found that trying to cover this, so you're like, oh, there's new matches the next day. There's new matches the next day. There's so much going on. But as I said in the podcast with JP, which if you haven't caught, go watch, we talk about Alex Ayala, the Ayala Hour. I gave my top 3 predictions for the clay swing, my top 3 ATP players who I thought would do the best. And I said it was Alcaraz, Tsitsipas, Djokovic. And I wish I said Musetti. I don't know why I wasn't thinking of him in my top 3. Musetti on the natural surfaces is like butter on toast. It's just meant to be. He is moves so well. He's got such artistic strokes. He plays tennis like a painter paints a canvas. I don't know how else to say it. So I wish I put him in my top 3. I don't know who I would have dropped. Maybe Djokovic, to be honest. He kind of, what I heard is that he had his thigh. So in the Miami Open final, he had like the black eye looking thing, and it was on the other side, I think. But now it's gone to this side, I believe, or maybe I'm wrong on that. But it was like more. It was a different. It looked like a classic kind of thigh. And he said his family. He was there with his family in Monte Carlo anyway, so he's trying to lose his first round or in his first match, and doesn't have it at all. Couldn't hit his forehand. So Djokovic fans, let me know in the comments below what you think is going on. Can he turn it around? He's always turned it around, but what are we going to go from here? And then Tsitsipas lost in the quarterfinals, and we'll break that down. But thanks for being here. If you're new here, smash the subscribe button, subscribe and like and subscribe, and we will take you through the rest of the tennis season together. The show is presented by Betway, so if you're going to responsibly bet on tennis, use Betway. They have an amazing platform. So let's get into some scores. Why don't we? Up on the screen, Musetti versus now. They're 1-1. So in that matchup, they're 1-1. But we'll get into that in a bit. Look at the scores leading there. So Musetti, Tsitsipas. Tsitsipas wins the first set. Musetti wins the next 2, gets up a break in the third, and Tsitsipas had a sniff at getting it back, but couldn't make returns when he needed to most. Couldn't make returns, couldn't put the ball in play. Tough one for Tsitsipas. 3-time winner of this tournament, couldn't get it done, but Musetti is Musetti on the clay. Tsitsipas did not have a good serving day. 7 double faults. He said he was serving 1 serve. I don't know why that was. He was like serving 2 first serves, but he only got 49% of his first serve in. 67% total 1 on the slow clay. Better than Musetti in that category, but got broken 3 times. Musetti also broken 3 times, interestingly. But the crazy thing is Musetti saved 14 of 17 break points. So Tsitsipas had this match in a lot of ways. He forced 17 break points, clearly was not clutch in the big moments, and he's going to regret that, I think. Winners to unforced errors, Tsitsipas actually clean, 25 to 15. So was Musetti, though, 21 to 17. Clean match for both guys, but in the biggest moments in the break points, Tsitsipas couldn't find it. Why is that? Why isn't that? I don't know, but that's a quarterfinal for Musetti. It's not a huge positive, but for it is what it is. I would say it's not a disaster. He didn't lose early on. He won a few matches. This is his tournament. He would have liked to do better for sure, but it's not the end of the world. What is a disaster is losing 6-0, 6-0 at your home tournament. Dimitrov's rolling up in his like McLaren, and de Minaur beats him like a drum, 6-0, 6-0. I had this match on in the morning after the Alcaraz Feast match, and I was like, checking on things, looking around, and all of a sudden it was just over. I knew that de Minaur had won the first set 6-0, and I was like, oh, this is not going well. And all of a sudden, the match was over. 44 minutes, 6-0, 6-0. The first time Dimitrov's ever lost double bagel in a match. De Minaur, probably since he was a kid. De Minaur, serve rating 300, 100, 106. First serve percent in. Yeah, like first serve points won. De Minaur was cracking returns, obviously, all over it. 32% first serve won for Dimitrov. That's got to be the lowest of his career. He was broken 6 times. Winners, 1 winner, 23 unforced errors. Absolutely brutal from Grigor Dimitrov. That's tough. So I don't know how much to comment on that as far as Dimitrov's level, or sorry, de Minaur's level going into the semifinal. But pretty crazy. What do you guys think about that? Dimitrov double bagel. Leave your thoughts on that below. Shocking to see, really. It was really shocking to see because Dimitrov, he would like a quicker court, I believe, of course. But he's great moving on the play. I just did not expect that from de Minaur over him. I didn't see any of Davidovich Fokina versus Popyrin, but Davidovich Fokina won 6-3, 6-2. And that's a good win for Alejandro Davidovich Fokina. I was just looking it up. Interesting stat is the only significant title that, or the major title, big title that final that Davidovich Fokina has been in was at Monte Carlo in 2022. He made the quarterfinals in 2021, final in 2022, lost in the first round both years since. So Alejandro Davidovich Fokina is chaotic. That's just a fact of life. Water's wet, wind is not fun, and Alejandro Davidovich Fokina is chaotic. So here he messes around, beats Popyrin into the semifinals to play his friend, Carlos Alcaraz, fellow Spaniard, who is figuring it out, who seems to be doing it. And what I found fascinating about his match today, I saw the third set. He did what he wasn't able to do in a lot of matches in the last 6 months, was win when he finding his level when he's up against it in the third set. He's gone on walkabouts that we've talked about with his level up and down throughout matches, and it seems to be in the bigger moments he can't find his best level for some reason. He found it today against Arthur Fils, who was playing huge, mauling the ball. And it was super interesting to watch because usually it's Alcaraz being the one who's more physically dominant, physically strong. He's not as strong as Fils, and Fils is just a beast, was hammering the forehand. One of the best shots for Fils was the inside in forehand down the line. So that's when Fils is running around the forehand and pounds it down the line. Such a good shot for him. Gets his body through the contact zone so powerfully, and was getting it past Alcaraz on the forehand side and just causing Alcaraz a ton of problems. But Alcaraz was able to get into enough rallies, play the return good enough to get back the break in the third set, and then break Fils again to win 6-3. He was down a break, broke him twice. Alcaraz finds a way. So that's exciting if you're an Alcaraz fan, because that's what he's needed. That's what he's been missing. His game's always been there, but he hasn't had the level in the biggest moments when needed. And that's kind of was his trademark for a lot of his early career, was finding the best moment to play his best tennis in the 5-set format, constantly doing that. Hadn't been doing it. Didn't do it against Goffin in Miami, and or against Draper in New Orleans. So here he does it against a Fils when he was up against it in the third set in Monte Carlo. So his fans will be ecstatic, I'm sure. Let's look at the stats. 3-set match, a battle, and I think Arthur Fils he's gonna continue to have a great year. Serve rating, Alcaraz had a higher serve rating than Fils, which is good. 3 aces, 7 double faults, 61% first serve win. He's still, I think, struggling with his accuracy on that first serve with the new form. But on Monte Carlo is not a serve dominant surface. Breakpoint saved. He was broken 4 times, Alcaraz, but he broke Fils 5 times. Stats, 41. Look at it. This was a pillow fight. Holy crap. 18 winners to 41 unforced errors for Alcaraz. 23 winners for fees to 53 unforced errors. Almost 100 unforced errors in this 3-set match between these two guys. So maybe the stats, people just had a bad day, or these guys were spraying it. But yeah, it was a war, and big hitting, big action from the baseline. But Alcaraz comes through. And that's what he's needed to do. He's just needed to come through matches where it was tight and where he didn't have his best stuff, which it didn't look like he did. So now we've got these semifinals ahead of us. Musetti versus Demonauer, Davidovich Fokina versus Alcaraz. Musetti out Demonauer, I got to lean Musetti in this one. I know what Demonauer just did to Dimitrov, but Musetti got him the one time they played on the natural surfaces at Queens. Musetti beat Demonauer. Demonauer beat Musetti, the Australian. And these all make sense. Australian on the hard court wins. Musetti on the natural surface wins. I'm leaning Musetti in this match, even though Demonauer is the higher seeded player, and he just destroyed Dimitrov. And yeah, just almost don't have any comments for that scoreline. So leaning Musetti there, but it's going to be a really interesting match because of the play styles. The physical beast, Demonauer, running down everything, playing flat through the court, playing aggressive, versus Musetti, who's going to use every spin in the game, going to use his serve. I think he's probably got a bit better serve. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see their styles match up against each other. Davidovich Fokina versus Alcaraz. How is that going to work? Is that going to be an ADHD fest? Davidovich Fokina has made 2 finals already in 2025, Delray Beach and Acapulco, I believe, losing both. So he's got nothing to lose against Alcaraz. He's going to go for it. He's going to go for broke. He's going to hit crazy shots. He might frazzle Alcaraz with some of the shots that he hits. Or Alcaraz will be on in the beginning. I think there's a big opportunity for Alcaraz to get distracted or lose his focus or lose his momentum or his edge in this match because of how chaotic the other side of the net can be. So that'll be interesting to see how Alcaraz manages that. But you really have to think. I know ADF can play great here at Monte Carlo and has before, but you really got to think if Alcaraz has his game, he's going to be the big favorite. He's got a much higher level of tennis to get to than ADF, but we'll see. That's you got to play the game to see. So that's going to be another physical matchup in Monte Carlo for 2 Spanish players. And that's a preview of the semifinals. If I had to guess, if I had to put some action on Betway, I would put it on Musetti and Alcaraz to be in the final. But we'll have to wait and see how that works out. So that's a preview. Leave your thoughts below. Being here. This is the we will see you after the final or before it maybe. We'll see you next time. Thanks for being here. Catch you next time.